groups around the country who are fighting against this odious debt. The Says No groups all over the country are well represented here today, and there are many other groups as well that we're welcoming. Spectacle of Hope and Defiance, Debt Justice, and I'm going to call on our next speaker from a group that have certainly put their time and their energy into fighting against the promissory note debt. Ladies and gentlemen, from Anglo Not Our Debt, Nessa Ní Chasaide.
Thanks, Fiona. I'm speaking as a member of Debt and Development Coalition, which is an active member of the Anglo Not Our Debt campaign. The Anglo Not Our Debt campaign stands in solidarity today with the Ballyhea and Says No campaign and all of the similar, consistent, dignified and assertive campaigns all around the country that are standing up against the socialised banking debt, which is not our debt and not our responsibility to pay. Our campaign is comprised of activists who've been working for many decades against the unjust and illegitimate debts that have been foisted on people in other parts of the world. And now the injustice of the global debt system has come home to roost in Ireland. We know that the statements of our government and the consistent statements of our Taoiseach that we must meet our debt obligations are entirely false. Debts are not paid all of the time. The financial markets have short memories. If people do not assert themselves, then our politicians get away with saying things like, "Do not scare the markets." We know that in Argentina, in the continent of Africa, in countries in Asia, over the last 2 decades, debts have been written down and people have stood up and put people pressure on their governments in order to ensure that this happens. And we take our hats off to the Ballyhea Says No campaign for leading the way in marching consistently now for over 140 weeks every Sunday in showing that our governments must listen to the people instead of hiding behind gates like this. Our government are not listening to us. In fact, what our governments are doing on our behalf now is paying almost equal to our education budget in interest payments alone on our debt. If we keep paying the Anglo debt, we will still be paying it by 2053. This is unacceptable. This is not our debt. We have pieces of paper here with string on them, which we're urging you to write your message to RTDs and tell them why the Anglo debt is not our debt. And to put those along the railings of that barrier that has become such a huge barrier between our so-called political representatives and us, the people that they are meant to represent. They have forgotten the meaning of independence in a vibrant republic, and they have forgotten the meaning of what sovereignty is and the importance of protecting that sovereignty. I'd like to end with a reminder to those TDs who are going to take a solemn vote on our behalf tonight. And we know that the majority of those TDs, with the exception of an honourable minority, are going to vote in favour of the payment of illegitimate debts. And I would like to remind them of a quote that was in the papers a few years ago when we got into this Troika programme. Sovereignty belongs not to the state or the government, but to the people. We have outsourced it for too long to an incompetent, amoral and self-serving elite. Now we face the starkest of choices. Use it or lose it. Thank you.
Thanks, Nessa. I think you certainly made us all think. I think it's good to stop and remind ourselves as well that going on in the Dole here tonight is a debate about emotion. It's about something that we've all been fighting for a very long time, and we really wouldn't have the opportunity to have this debate or this vote without the technical group and the independents and Sinn Féin who have all supported the motion, and in particular the technical group TDs who have brought this motion to the Dáil.
Marcus Howard, test 1, 2, 3.